So we have Alex Gomes here with his trainer aircraft. Alex, tell us a little bit about your trainer and why do we call it a trainer?
Well, it's called a trainer because it's a very easy plane to learn on for basic learners, and it's a high wing plane, which the wing is located on top of the fuselage, so it's a more stable flight.
Okay.
And the landing gear is tricycle, one in the front and two in the back. And the front wheel also is the steering wheel, so when you turn the rudder, it'll turn the steering wheel also. Yeah.
So we'll point out this just happens to have skis on it. Not that most trainers have skis. We're taping this in the wintertime. We have snow on the ground, so it's ready for winter flying, but normally we have wheels on that, right? Okay. So this is a typical trainer aircraft. As we said, we call it, what, a 4-channel, right?
Yeah.
So why do they call it 4 channels?
4 channels for each servo that's in the plane to control each
flight surface.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have
ailerons.
Ailerons, which are on the main wing.
Yep. Both on each side.
In the back, you have what?
The rudder, which also controls the steering wheel, but it's all in one servo. And then the elevator, and then the throttle.
And then the throttle. So that's 4 functions we control in the airplane, so we call it a 4-channel. Let's turn the transmitter and receiver on. We happen to have one of the transmitters here. I'll turn that on. Why don't you turn the receiver on the airplane there? And we'll show everybody how this works. So we have 4 controls here, right? So there's the elevator, up and down, and I'm moving my stick on the transmitter, and the airplane is doing the same. My rudder is turning both the rudder on the back, this is the rudder stick, and the steering wheel, so that would be the ground steering, and also what we call yaw control, left and right yaw on the aircraft. We have the ailerons, left and right, which makes the airplane bank or roll left and right. And then the throttle control, which you can't see, but that's on the engine to control the speed of the engine, right? So those are the 4 functions. So we have the wing off this aircraft now to show you how one of the servos work, right? So the servos are kind of like the muscles of the aircraft.
That move the ailerons.
Right, that'll move each particular control surface. So move your aileron stick back and forth, and they can see how the servo moves. And then we have push rods over to the control arms of the ailerons, which cause the surfaces to move. So every function in the aircraft that we want to control has a servo, right? So very good. All right, so let's show you the inside of the plane so you can see how some of the other servos are connected. So we have the wing off the aircraft now, and we just want to show you what some of the servos look like inside the plane, right? So we have 3 servos in here. So why don't you grab the transmitter, and we'll show the inside of the plane here. So we have 3 servos. One is connected to the elevator. Why don't you move the elevator up and down? Yeah. And let's get that so you can see. Go ahead, move that elevator up and down. Okay, and then we have the rudder servo, which moves both the rudder and the nose wheel. And you may be able to see 2 push rods connected to that arm that's moving. And then the last one here is the throttle servo that's connected to the throttle on the engine. You really can't see inside here because they're at different positions, but there's also a receiver inside here and a battery that runs the receiver pack inside the airplane. So that's basically all the major functions of the remote control airplane. It's the radio system and servos that turn the airplane into what we call a remote control airplane, right? Okay, very good. So thank you very much. We'll put that down. By the way, they weigh about 3 or 4 pounds. They fly very well. Thanks for coming, Alex.
Okay.
welcome Don. We have Don Cox here from the New Hampshire Flying Tigers. Don, tell us a little
Thank
about
you,
your
Rich.
history with the club.
Well, I'm a longtime member of the Flying Tigers. Rich moved here from upstate New York almost 20 years ago. Joined the club in the summer of 1988, so I've been around a long time. I haven't been able to do much as far as participating in the actual operations of the club up until the last couple of years, and been a club officer. This will be my second year. As a secretary, I was vice president last year. I enjoy the hobby very much. I enjoy the camaraderie. It's a great group of guys, and just a lot of fun.
Great. What do you do for a living, Don?
Well, I'm a retired airline captain, and I was interested in model airplanes ever since I was a kid. I would go down to the drugstore and buy the Revell plastic models and put them together, and I had them hanging from my bedroom ceiling. And as time went on, I became more and more interested in aviation, and it was just kind of followed naturally. Stepped up to control line and just kept falling down because I got so dizzy.
So control line is the type of plane you fly with a handle.
Right, you have the U-control handle.
And a set of lines out to an aircraft.
Right.
You fly in a circle. Right?
Fly it around in a circle. And then in about 1980, I got into what today is RC.
Radio control, right.
I started out with gliders, and my stepson was younger at the time. So we eventually got both into powered flight, and we've been in powered flight ever since.
So how did you first learn how to fly?
Well, I did the typical, I built my airplane, I took it out to the field to teach myself to fly, and that flight lasted about 12 seconds.
12 seconds, okay. Yeah.
And I smashed it up and realized that I needed some help. And at the time, I had a buddy living near me who was able to help me. He was a member of a local club.
So you did have some flight instruction.
Right. That was prior to coming to New Hampshire and joining the Tigers.
So how do you think that compares? Obviously, you've seen our training program. How do you think having a person help you learn to fly versus a training program? How does that compare?
It's really the only way to fly. I wouldn't teach anybody any other way except through the buddy box, and I would not encourage anybody to go out and do such as I did, build an airplane and then go out and crash it, try and teach yourself. It's frustrating, it's expensive. So the training program is really the best way to go.
Right. Okay, very good. So you've been flying for 20-something years, and I know people ask all the time, so we have a perfect person to answer this question. How does flying a radio control model compare to feel of the flying of a real aircraft?
Well, it's actually it's very, very different because flying a full-scale aircraft, obviously you're sitting. It's kind of like driving a car. You turn the wheel left, you know it's going to go left, except you're dealing in 3 dimensions. In the modeling world, it's same but different, and the orientation of you watching your model fly and controlling it is very different from sitting in it and trying to fly it.
Because I know we've had many pilots come up and say, oh, I know how to fly an airplane, or I fly a jet, or so forth. I can fly these model airplanes, it'll be easy. And as you know, it's not as easy as it looks, right?